Hi friends, it's me. So, this video is probably going to come across a little strange. I'm in my glasses, which is unusual because you guys know I almost always have my contacts in. I have very poor vision. If you guys aren't aware of this, I have really bad vision and I wear my contacts a lot. But because I wear my contacts so much, I also get like eye irritation issues. It's one of several reasons why I haven't been on camera recently. That's one. Another one is that I've been having some family health issues, and so I just haven't had the, I guess, emotional capacity is the best way to put it. Just haven't had the emotional bandwidth to deal with Chantel's nonsense. So that's why you guys are getting me like this. I am in a day full of day's makeup, so my face is greasy, and I know my under eye concealer is cracking a little bit. I have no lipstick on because at work I wear a mask all day, so I don't tend to wear lipstick or honestly even foundation on this part of my face because what's the point? I am wholly in my pajamas. They are comfortable. I washed my hair and I put it up immediately into a bun, so it's now become rat's nest like. And I thought, you know what? I have been avoiding getting on camera for a variety of reasons because I just didn't want to talk about everything that was happening because I was so sick of everything. And I think at some point, if you've ever talked to a therapist, you know that no matter how much you bury certain things, no matter how much you avoid talking about certain things, I think there just comes a point where you have to talk about it. So the first thing I'm going to say is, despite sounding very, very, I guess, weird in this video, I'm not actually planning on leaving my channel. I do actually enjoy talking about this stuff. I've said multiple times before. It's one of the only reasons I still do this. You guys know, any donations that you guys give me on Patreon, any likes, dislikes, subscribing, not subscribing, all that stuff means to me like a bunch. It means to me emotionally a lot, but I don't depend on this for my income. And so, you know, I do this because it brings me a sense of joy and because I like having a hobby. I guess I have like different things I also do, but like I said, I like having multiple hobbies, things that help me de-stress. That's why I do this. And I found myself getting more and more wound up these past couple of weeks. It became really hard to talk about Chantel because I was so sick of her behavior. There's a lot of different aspects of Chantel's behavior that irritate me, right? Like there's the usual, the whole going back and forth, bringing Natter back into her life, putting Natter on the channel when everyone clearly hates him. But those weren't the reasons why I was getting tired of her. The more she got frustrated with Dee Dee, the more that she resorts to talking about Dee Dee in a very like aggressive, incredibly bigoted manner. She calls Dee Dee a man. She has implied often that Natter might be gay or that he has physical relations with men. I don't know how you would describe that. There's a variety of different sexual orientations that belongs to. So, but that he occasionally engages in sexual relationships with men, and that there is something inherently disgusting or wrong about that, because whenever she brings it up, it's not, there are several things that I think we have to consider when someone makes a comment, right? This is the same reason why I, despite being an extremely large Harry Potter fan, like, I mean, I don't think you guys know how big of a Harry Potter fan I am, why I found J.K. Rowling's comments so like transphobic and so upsetting. It's the same reason why I find a lot of Chantel's language to be very like upsetting. It's not so much that she's saying like, you know, the F slur or saying anything of that sort. It's that the way that she talks about these issues, the times in which she mentions them, it always comes across as suspect. When the only times you're calling the other person that you don't seem to like, that's involved in a relationship with who you consider to be your property, when the only time you call them a man is when you are angry at her, when you're looking for ways to tear her down, when you're doing it at the same time as you're calling her literal shit and, you know, you're calling her doo-doo and you're pulling faces, then it implies to me that you think that all of those are on the same level, that her being a trans woman, if I'm not saying at all that she is, I have no idea. Okay, I don't know her like that. But if her being a trans woman is on the same level or as her being literal poo, then that says to me that you don't think very much of trans women. Because her being trans or not has nothing to do with whether or not she's a piece of shit, right? Like, I will tell you right now, I think Nikita Dragun is a giant turd. She is a turd on the face of humanity. I literally dislike her to such a degree that I cannot begin to tell you. That said, it's not because she's a trans woman. I dislike Nikita Dragun because I think she's a clout chaser, because I think she is irresponsible, because I think that she is in her own way extremely bigoted. But it's got nothing to do with her being a trans woman. I don't need to be out here calling her a man. She's not. It's same thing with Didi. It's irrelevant if Didi identifies as a female, regardless of any other classifications. Why does it matter? Why would resorting to that make her less of a person? And that's what it all comes down to, right? And the more I watch Chantel do this, and then I would come on here and I would talk about all the things. And the thing is, every time I talk to you guys about Chantel being bigoted, or every time we have a conversation about it, it all comes down to the same thing. It comes down to me saying, I really don't agree with it. I really don't like it. I really wish she wouldn't do this. And then I would keep talking about all the other things she's doing. And it felt to me like I was being disingenuous. Like, I'm still watching this person and they're saying all these horrible things about everybody else. And yet I'm like still engaging with her content. And it made me dislike myself. It made me dislike her channel even more. And it put me in this weird headspace where I'm just like, I don't know if I have the emotional capacity to deal with it. And not all of this is on Chantel, because I know the kind of person that she is and I choose to watch her. That's on me. Some of this has to do with just like, I'm very, very stressed at work. Just with being sick, I'm still suffering through a little bit of that exhaustion. And I did not know this, but did you know nerve pain can be a symptom of having COVID? Because I'm experiencing some nerve pain. Like it's right in my, well, you guys can't really see, but it's like right in my elbows and stuff. It like hurts. It feels kind of like if someone has taken multiple jabs when they're taking blood, like deep bruising. That's what it feels like. So I'm still like going through that a little bit. And I'm just overall so fed up with her behavior. And if it was just Chantel, it would be one thing. But it's everything. It was everything. Another aspect of this, just the state of the girl world that I was tired with, was Amberlynn. I'm watching her channel and I watch Amberlynn on and off. I haven't been following Amberlynn's journey for a pretty long period of time because she's gotten really, really boring, right? When she was actively trolling, Amberlynn was more interesting, but without the trolling and without any progress, it comes across as boring to me. Now, I will say, I do think she's lost some amount of weight, but every time this happens, she stagnates in her weight loss because willpower is a limited thing. Scientifically speaking, your willpower will, V's and W's, it will lessen over time. And so if you're counting on just your willpower to carry you through when it comes to like binge eating, when it comes to emotional eating, when you're eating to cover up a deeper problem, it will not work in the long run, because when your willpower runs out, there's nothing else to fall back on. And she's gone back to doing Weight Watchers, which she has done a billion times, and it never works for her. I would say that Weight Watchers rarely, if ever, works for anybody with emotional eating problems. Weight Watchers is good for people who have gained a little bit of weight, right? And they're now looking to lose it. But people who have systemic reasons for eating, people who are trying to eat away their trauma, which is what Amber, if there was ever a case of it, is, it will not work. It is not a cure-all. And the thing that will actually help her is doing like cognitive therapy. The only thing that will help her is cognitive therapy, because it's the only thing that will help her deconstruct why she's behaving the way that she's behaving. And she can potentially get back to a place where she can unlearn those behaviors. She can move away from those harmful actions and she can get better. But that relies on her to do the work. It relies on her making an effort. It relies on her wanting to dig into the past. And no matter what Amber says, she doesn't want to do that. And I think the same reason she doesn't want to do that, same reason why Chantel doesn't want to change her life. They are comfortable in the routine. Amber in her boring, overeating, sad life, and Chantel in her over dramatic and overly indulgent especially when it comes to illicit substances, life. Both of them are so comfortable in their routines, no matter how toxic their routines are. And definitely, I think that Chantel's is significantly more destructive than like Amber's is, because Amber is boring and she eats a lot. The last thing that I kind of want to talk about is DC Media Girl. So I don't really know what's happening with her. I really used to like DC, and I don't tend to watch a lot of channels regularly. Part of that, it's got nothing to do with personalities or anything like that, and everything to do with the fact that once the reactors, a lot of them transitioned to doing more like live stream content where it was like long. I don't have the time for it. So it's got very little to do with what they're talking about and everything to do with just the length of the videos. So I tend to favor creators who are making more edited content just because I don't have time. It's one of the reasons I make edited content as well, is because I don't have the time to be on live for multiple hours a day. I simply don't. I wish I did, but I don't have the luxury of time like that. So I don't have to watch it regularly. So if there's something that I've missed, and I feel like I must have, because there's no other explanation why, once we had finally gotten rid of what I considered to be a cancer in this community, that she has to go and bring him back. Negs is not a good guy. Okay? There are a variety, like, there's a lot of people in the Amber community that I would say are like, okay, they're being like a little like overly dramatic. They're being really nitpicky. And there are definitely some creators who I think are overly nitpicky, right? But they're not bad people. They're just being hypercritical of someone who has shown a history of bad behavior. And do I think it's fair? Not necessarily, but that doesn't make them bad people. Negs is not one of those people. He's a bad person. He makes a lot of very bigoted comments. He's threatened a ton of people. And I know for a fact that he's doxed a ton of people in this community. And for her to be platforming him again, I don't care. I hate when people two sides an argument. Because to say that, well, you know, he also deserves the chance to say his piece. No, that implies to me that both sides of the argument have equal points, that it's equally valid. It's when people talk about the climate change debate and they're like, well, you should listen to both sides of the argument. There is no both sides of the argument. To say that climate change denial and that climate change science both deserve equal merits is to say that they're both opinions with equal evidence behind it, and they are not. The vast majority of scientists endorse one thing. Even if a very small fraction minority of that say something else, it has no bearing on the actual merits of the argument. And this is the same thing. By saying that Negs deserves a platform, that he deserves to be listened to, you are saying that there are some points that he's making that are valid. It does not matter. And you know what? There are other people who've had criticisms of our community. And I'm not saying we have to drive everybody off. Hell, Toad McKinley, who I absolutely adore, had some pretty hard-hitting things to say in the documentary, I want to say, that Cecil McFly made. And I watched that documentary. And you know what? They're not wrong about everything. Cecil is not wrong about everything in that documentary. I agree with some of the points made. I agree with some of the criticisms made of this community. I agree with some of the criticisms people have, not just of other people, but of myself. I think it's fair. I think some of the points made are fair. I am not correct on everything. Negs is not the person that I will take any of this from, because he is not a good person. He has no legs to stand on. He does not argue in good faith. He is a leech. And the fact that she is platforming him makes me more upset than anything I can think of in a very long period of time. And I cannot for the life of me figure out why, because DC was the first person to notice my channel. She gave me a shout out and she helped me grow my channel. And I sat with the discontent of her platforming this man who actively has tried to dox me and actively has tried to make my life a misery. Why she would platform this man, I have no idea. And I'm at a loss. And I considered reaching out. And then I was like, what could she possibly say that would change my point of view? So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with her. All I can say is I so strongly disagree with her actions that I can't watch her anymore. I can't even watch her on topics that I agree with her on. And I know this might make me unpopular, or I know that there might be people in my community who also disagree, and I don't tend to generally care because I don't want to bring the drama in here. Sometimes people argue, sometimes people disagree. I know there was a little tiff that happened a while ago, I want to say between Callie and Yaba. I don't have an opinion on that. People have disagreements sometimes. I don't give a crap. It's not for me to weigh in on every single person because I don't know what's going on. And like I said, I don't follow every single disagreement that happens. But this is not something that I can abide by. This is not something that I can endorse, even tacitly, so I had to address it. All that leads me to say is this. I'm in a funny place emotionally. You guys know that given my job, like switching back to having people more coming back into office, that I've had less and less time to actually make content. And I've been trying and struggling. And it's not that I haven't had the actual time. I just haven't had the emotional capacity these past couple of weeks. So I'm hoping that now that I've gotten some of that off my chest and that I have like decompressed a little and that we seem to be turning a corner and there's now a Roman, that he'll bring some new and different drama and some new energy. Because if I have to watch one more stream of Chantel raging, I don't know, I'm going to like lose it. And this is supposed to be my decompression, so I don't want to be losing it. That's all I have to say. Sorry if this was rambly. Sorry if there were cuts. Sorry if I don't look as fresh as I usually do. Sorry if I'm angry and sorry about the glare in my glasses. My eyes just really need a break. Thank you so much to my patrons for sticking with me through this. I've had a couple of patrons reach out to me. People are very kind. You guys have no idea how nice sometimes people are behind the scenes. I have friends both in the community and just people who watch who are they're good. They're great. They really do make a difference and they really do help. So that's all I have to say on this. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for being here. As always, I'm Jasmine, the sequel, and I am not relatable. Peace. A thank you to my patrons: Acrophobe, Ariel M, Christina, Courtney EP, Darkness Dust, Dainty B, Oceana Song, Sidra Z, Colleen L, Debbie E, Juju, Chesta Jude, Kate O, Sonia P, and a special thank you to my $25 patrons, D. Higgins and Megan O.